Hey, everybody. Happy Saturday. Hopefully, you've had a great weekend so far. We've had a fantastic weekend. My son Brennan was able to come down. He's been in Virginia helping a distribution center there reprofile basically their whole building and move all the freight from one section to another. So he's been busy doing that, but he's been able to sneak down on the weekend. We were hoping to have him all weekend this weekend. We had him all weekend last weekend visit us, but unfortunately he has to work tomorrow. They're going to take the whole building apart tomorrow and basically take everything out of the racks and re-rack it all. It's a huge day. So he's been working 75, 80 hours. Super proud of the kid. If he's a kid, he's in his, 30s now. He's be 30 this year. Or no, it'd be 30, yeah, 30 this year. God, time flies, man. So, very proud of him. But he headed back tonight so he can get up at 5 and go to work tomorrow. So, good stuff. But we enjoyed him for the day or so that we had him. Tonight, enjoying a bowl of Quiet Nights GLPs. Probably one of my top 3 blends, if not my 1 or 2. I'm a little nervous about this blend because it's only been out since 2011 or 2010, I believe. And if the deeming regulations come out the way I think they're going to come out, this is a blend that may go away. So I ordered another pound the other day. I think I've got 2 or 3 pounds of it. And I'm not comfortable with that amount. I need more because if it goes away, it's gone. Enjoying it in my Savinelli Series 3 320. Look at that. That bad boy's coloring up really nicely. This is pretty much dedicated to Englishes, mostly Northwoods, but on occasion I'll throw something else in. Enjoying a highball tonight. Been enjoying a couple of these lately. This is rye and ginger ale. Diet ginger ale and rye. Fantastic. I kind of prefer the highball because, you know, you get more soda than whiskey, and it really knocks you back on what you could drink. So you can have 2 or 3 of those, and you're pretty much done with liquid, and can function the next day. You drink whiskey straight, it's pretty quick. So this is a 9mm filter pipe, which I absolutely love as well. Thought I'd tell a quick story tonight, and I don't know where I'm going to go with this story. So, but it's basically a sea story, and it's boot camp, taking off for boot camp. So I could probably talk for 4 hours on this, and I don't want to. I may break this up in sections, may talk about different things that I think about at different times, but I'm going to talk about the overview of boot camp. As you know, I grew up in Ohio, small town. 63 in my graduating class, and we were one of the biggest classes ever. So that tells you something. There was probably less people in my high school than are in most people's graduating classes. But with that being said, I just paint that picture because grew up small. We weren't exposed to a lot. Grew up in the cornfields, which I wouldn't trade for anything. Loved how I grew up. Absolutely loved it. And so the time came to go to boot camp, September 23rd, 1991. Never forget it. Said goodbye to everybody. Had been making the rounds probably for a week, and it was tough. Said goodbye to the girlfriend at the time, all my friends, my family, and was up at Norca High at 5 in the morning waiting for my recruiter to come get me, to take me to MEPS to process me in, and then to take me on to the airport. 5 became 6. 6 became 7. You get the picture. He didn't show up. He recruited me from Lancaster, Ohio, but then he moved to Newark. So here I am. Went back home. Got a hold of my recruiter. Yeah, he forgot me. But we'll get you tonight. We'll take you to the hotel. and you'll go from MEPS to MEPS in the morning on the 24th. And from there, you'll go to boot camp. So, totally sucked because I had to say goodbye to everybody again. So, went up that evening about 6 or 7. Took me to the hotel. It was a Monday. And Monday Night Football was on. Jets and Colts. Never forget. It's the little things you never forget, right? Got to MEPS, processed in. Got on the plane the next day, 5 o'clock. Thought it was a cool. This was only the second time I'd ever flown. I had flown once before. My Uncle Fred had flown me out to a Navy game in Annapolis. At one point, I thought I was going to go to the Naval Academy. Wish I would have stuck with that and done it. But hey, I can't complain how life's turned out. Learned a lot. And I learned a lot being enlisted. Wouldn't trade that for the world. Second time on a plane. Thought it was the coolest thing in the world that I was taking off at 5 o'clock in Columbus, Ohio, and landing at 5 o'clock in Chicago, Illinois. So I was going back in time, you know. It's the simple things in life. Now I've flown so many times I've lost count. Probably in the thousands at this point. Get to Chicago. Everything's good. United Airlines. And they take you up to the USO. And everything's great there, man. Soda, cookies, whatever you need. Everybody's so friendly and nice. And then they get you on a bus, and they bus you up to Great Lakes. And I don't remember how long the bus ride is. I can't recall. I want to say it was hour by the time you know, it's really not that far, but by the time they mess around and get everybody on the bus. You get off the bus, and that's when you really realize it's real. That's when you first get somebody in your face screaming at you. Now, I had a little bit of an advantage that a lot of the other people didn't have. My really good buddy, it's still a great buddy to this day, my buddy Bob, he went in the Navy. He went 2 months before me. So when you're in boot camp, you love getting mail. So I was writing him mail. He was writing me mail. He was giving me the play-by-play of what was going on. So I knew a lot of what to expect. So I had an inside advantage, so to speak, which was fantastic. And that first night was rough. Yelling at everybody, getting a line, getting nut to butt. Never forget that. You know, 3 hours ago, everybody had their personal space. Now here you are just crammed into everybody, just feeling the dude's breath on the back of your neck, and you're all just like sardines. They're breaking you from day one. And that's really all boot camp is they break you down and they rebuild you. That's essentially all that boot camp does. And got through all that, the drug screens, the tests, the paperwork, everything. Just crazy. Got through all of it. And they finally get you to bed. It's about 2 or 3 in the morning. You finally get to go to sleep for about 5 to 10 minutes. Then they start yelling at you, get up, we got to move you. And I think we moved 4 or 5 times that night. So they do that just to mess with you. And again, part of the breaking down process. Move you around 4 or 5 times tonight. I think finally you got in bed by 5 or 6 in the morning. Maybe they let you sleep an hour or 2. It was up early the next day. And then it all began. The haircuts, the Smurf outfits. You know, we called them the Smurf days. Before you, worst thing in the world, man. Before you classed up and got your uniform, they gave you essentially a Navy t-shirt that said, or a Navy sweatshirt that just said Navy on the front, a sock cap that was black, and a pair of sweatpants that said Navy on one, up on one thigh. And that's what you wore. till you classed up, until you got, you were able to get your uniform. At that point, man, you're wearing the same pair of underwear 4 or 5, 6 days. You were literally turning it inside out, backwards, any way you could get it to. It was the most disgusting thing. I'll spare you the details. You threw them away when you were done. But once you got into the Smurf days, they gave you a big box and you just put everything in it, ship it back home, all the clothes you wore there, ship it back home. Crazy. So I'm seeing I'm long-winded. I'm already at 11 minutes, so I'm going to kind of wind this down. Maybe we're going to break this up into different, because telling an 8-week story is a lot. So I'll talk about different things about boot camp. The one cool thing I told you about Bob earlier, the cool thing after I classed up, I was in, my company was it Company 283, division, I think I was 22, maybe 24. Can't remember what division I was in, but I was Company 283 for sure. But what they did was they brought recruits in from an earlier company that had been there a couple months, and they gave us their inspection blankets, because you had a blanket used every night, and then you had an inspection blanket. And I saw Bob. I actually got Bob's blanket. So here we were, 2 guys that graduated in a small class of 63 in Cornfield, Ohio. And here we were in Navy boot camp, him on his way out. He was done. Me on my way in, scared to death, but thankful I had Bob, because he gave me the inside plays, knew what to expect. But it was so cool. That really helped me for probably the first week or so, just having that interaction, even though it was only a minute or two, just being able to see him and say, hey, bud, and maybe a quick hug, and just made my day. So, but that was the beginning of Navy boot camp. Man, I forgot a lot of that until I started talking about it. So how cool is that? But I'll let you go. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'll pick up where I left off and maybe talk a little bit more about boot camp. There's some funny stories that happened, and enjoyed my time. We were a push company, so they had to get us the hell out of there. They were closing Great Lakes for a remodel to start bringing the females up that way eventually. I think that was 92, 93, but I was 91. They were really dwindling down. So by the time I graduated, right about Thanksgiving, just before Thanksgiving in 91, they pushed us through. So we skipped a lot of training. We didn't have to do the gas chamber and a few other things that people did, which was nice. We didn't get to qualify with pistols either, which was a bummer. But there's a few things they skipped us through that weren't absolutely necessary. I don't miss not doing the gas chamber, I can tell you that. That was fantastic to miss that. But anyhow, I'll do another part 2. This was good. I enjoyed telling the story. Hopefully you enjoyed watching it. If you stuck with me for 13 minutes, man, thank you. Appreciate you. Drop me a little line below deck. Let me know. You have boot camp of any kind. Memories, bring back anything? Hopefully so. Wishing you all the blessings in the world. Take care of each other out there. Pay it forward. We'll catch you next time. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'm going to jump over to house parties, so if you're out and about, maybe see you there. See you.